Was Kingsongs' response to the S20 fire adequate? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Now, if you haven't been paying attention recently, the Kingsong S20 has blown up into a ball of insatiable fire. Now, unexpected as it was, there's no doubt that it happened. Okay, out of the 49 or so wheels out there in the wild being tested at the moment, the one UStride had a chance to ride and stress test cut out under too much stress via hard sequential braking, and then blew up into a massive ball of fire that would make a flamethrower jealous. Now, some of your comments are quite insightful actually, and some were very funny. While there were a few knee-jerk responses, credit to all of you for sharing your democratic opinions, by the way. In either case, whether you care about how it happened and why it happened, there is one fact that could not be denied. It happened. And here's the thing, it's not supposed to happen. Well, not really. If I had punctured the battery in some way, then it could happen. If I had submerged the wheel in water and water built up over time, that would happen. There is a long list of possibilities that would cause the same results. But since I was the rider, hence the victim of this situation, I'm very impressed with the amount of blame that was attributed to the rider for riding a wheel that was meant to be ridden. I mean, that's kind of funny. Full disclosure, about less than 2% of you responded by blaming the rider. Now, Kingsong did, however, submit a response to said explosion, and honestly, it was extremely quick and in-depth, far outgoing the likes of my favorite EUC company, which I will not name. But regardless of that, was it adequate? In other words, were they able to reproduce what happened, and did they even have enough evidence to verify what indeed might have happened? Before I could answer that question though, let's look at what they submitted. We see that they indeed attempted to create a short where the circuits and fuses would do their jobs and break the circuit, thus preventing any type of arcing that would return to the batteries, but not quite. What they demonstrated was how it was supposed to work. Number one, they shorted the circuit, but then quickly disconnected the induced short, allowing the circuit to safely break, then reconnect the cable, thus attempting to cause the short again. But the issue here is that the circuit is already broken from the first short. Now, what they should have done was induce or cause the short, keep the cables connected, allowing the circuit and software to prevent the flow of power to the batteries, thus causing the explosion. Instead, it was interrupted by the tester. Huge fail in my opinion. Now, it's really that simple. So to answer the question, no. Kingsong's response was not adequate enough because, like many of you who knee-jerked in your comments, less than 2% of you by the way, Kingsong felt the need to do major damage control by knee-jerking a quick response as well. The proof is in the naming, as they say, because as if that knee-jerk wasn't enough, the name of the much anticipated KS20 was changed to KS22. Makes a lot of sense when you can imagine by the time the wheels come out, the search results for the S20 would undoubtedly be drowned by the searches for the S22, and the S20 Phoenix event will be but a distant memory. So in either case, it seems to have done the job for the masses who were not entirely informed, and isn't that what really matters? So a few takeaways here. Number one, in my opinion and experience, the KS20, now S22, will not spontaneously blow up in flames while in the hands of average riders who ride normally. Number two, the braking that was done was induced, and it's not how normal riders brake, so nothing to worry about here. Number 3, if you are an aggressive rider or someone who tends to torque wheels in a successive manner to the point of cutting out the wheel or near cutting out the wheel, there is a high chance this could happen to you. Just keep in mind though, the KS20, unless severely updated with better components, is a phoenix. You've been warned. Number 4, overall, the KS20 is a fantastic wheel that I strongly feel is a prototype for the masses and hasn't fully been tested or vetted for possible major failures where power surge, arcing, and the like is a concern. Number 5, finally, while we have the chance, we should encourage the other 49 or so owners of the S20 demo wheels to push the limits in order to truly dismiss my findings and results. That way, you could safely say, okay, this was a one-off. Thanks guys for watching. I hope this was helpful for you all. Happy riding, until next time. One more thing guys, this is from Francois Simon, if I pronounced his name correctly. This is his response to Kingsongs' video. Hi dear Kingsong, good video. Your fuse test is invalid however, and does not reproduce the scenario which led to the NYC fire. At 4:07, you are making a short but interrupting it immediately, so it prevents the fuse to arc after blowing. On the next attempts, there is no circuit due to the fuse being blown, so nothing happens. But this is not what happens in real life. To have a real test, you must create a short that is continuous. This short must be stopped by the fuse alone and not the operator. It will establish if the 60 volt DC rated SMD fuse installed is indeed capable of stopping the short to protect the pack or continue to short with elevated temperature due to arcing. Please do not consider the pack safe as they are now. This test does not establish that. Now in response to him, Ulf says, sorry, they are doing a continuous short at 254 and that for about 40 seconds. If there would be any problem on this shortage after 10 to 15 seconds, you would have your venting explosion. For me, it looks good. Now Francois responds and says, and in my opinion, it's a very good response. He says, that's a misunderstanding. 254 is a test of the software protection, which could be broken once again by a bug introduced in the next firmware update. Source, I'm a software engineer. All right, so for the full back and forth between Francois and Ulf, definitely check out Kingsongs' S22 test related to battery pack. And Francois should be the first response. Just click on his hidden replies and you can make your own assessment. In my view, Francois Simon makes more sense because in my experience with what happened to the KS20, the wheel was continuously on after the short. So he's right.